Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Uncanny Spirits Club. Just fiddling with some settings here. How's everybody doing? I have another fresh review for you tonight. And this one is a distiller that I have seen a lot of good things about. And generally, most of what they put out is a little bit higher end on the price scale. And I didn't think I would be able to really get one at one of the local stores here. But this showed up recently, and I thought, well, this is a good opportunity. This is probably its entry-level price point, to be honest. But this is Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It is 100 proof, as you can see. Distilled by Heaven Hill Distillery in Louisville, Kentucky. And on the back it says, best of the best Kentucky bourbons. And I've been looking forward to it. They do make a lot of higher priced ones, like I said, that are different types, like small batch and cask strength, and I think they make a rye and a few other things. But this is the first one that I've seen show up at my local grocery store, and it was $49.99. So getting upwards in the price, but not too far out of the comfort zone just yet. Generally, when you get into the 50 and up range, I start getting kind of like, when I first started getting into tastings and things, I didn't feel too bad about $60 price points because I figured that was the standard for the good stuff. But to be honest, you can find a lot of really good things around $30 to $40, and that changed my perspective quite a bit. But this should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. I know many people that rave about it. Good cork pull. It looks like it is a organic cork rather than synthetic. Smells like a bourbon. Nothing too flashy right off the bat. I'm going to put it in my Woodford Reserve glass, and we're going to see how it treats us. A smidge more. And it is a nice, pleasing bourbon dark brown, as you can see in the bottle. And then the glass. A little bit of redness here, but not a ton. Mostly just a nice deep brown. A good old dose of the brown stuff. I'm getting over, like I said, I'm still getting over that. I always have a lingering cough for weeks after I get a cold. It's just how my body is. I just probably don't get enough vitamin C or something. I'm good everywhere else, no fevers, no anything else. I've just got this lingering cough. So still got to put up with that. But it smells nice. I can smell the vanilla. I smell a little bit of mild citrus, like some orange. Tropical fruit, maybe. So we're going to see if this lives up to the hype. It's like one of those things like Buffalo Trace and Blanton's and things that you hear a lot about and you don't often get a chance to taste. And then you have to wonder, well, is it really worth it or not? So we're going to find out. It's very wood forward. Unlike most other bourbons, you really get the wood taste right up front. A lot of heat. Not a lot of sharpness, though. It doesn't really attack you, but it is warm. Like I keep it at room temperature here, And it's not particularly super hot in the house right now, but it tastes warmer than the temperature of what it is. It's a kind of syrupy, very viscous, a little bit of cream there. Really, really lot of depth. Butterscotch, kind of deep caramel kind of flavor. Not bad. That first initial taste kind of throws you off because it does taste a lot like the barrel. And this has been aged longer than some other bourbons. It says this bourbon is 7 years old. And a lot of times you get bourbons that are between 3 and 5 years old on average. And that's what sets them apart a lot of times from your Irish whiskeys and your scotches and things of that nature. Those typically are aged for like 9-10 years for things that are priced around this. And then the price just goes higher the longer that they've been put down for. Certain American whiskeys sometimes have that length as well, but so it's on the upper scale for a bourbon. And you're getting a lot of wood from that barrel in the first taste, but that when it settles very nicely. Let's try a second one. Again, very, very barrel forward and very warming. Very warming. This is definitely something. A very fall winter bourbon, I think. A very cool day kind of bourbon. It's not really a summer bourbon. A lot of caramel and butterscotch kind of feel on the palate, and it settles nicely. But that initial taste is a little challenging. It's not the worst I've ever gotten from something. Sometimes you get things that first taste is just obnoxious, and it takes a while for it to settle down nicely. But this is not bad. I can understand why people look for this and why people really tend to value this relatively highly. I'm now interested in what the higher priced versions are like compared to this. A higher price tag does not always mean it's going to taste better or more advanced, but it can. And that's a good reason why a lot of the price is the way it is, because it's generally a higher quality product. But we'd have to see. But I give this pretty high marks. I like this. I like the way that it settles. That wood forward in the beginning is like I said, a little challenging. But once you get past that and it settles very nicely. And it reminds me a little bit of one of the variations of the Uncanny Spirit that I made. The flavor exactly isn't the same, but the way it reacts, the way it starts out with a heavy wood taste and then it dissolves into more flavor. And so that's interesting. So it shows that perhaps I was on the right track with the one that I made, which if you don't know about that, you can go back and watch the 100th episode, because that details my adventures with aging my own homegrown whiskey. I didn't home distill it. I used a vodka base, but I did make my own whiskey. And if you haven't seen that yet, you should. Episode 100, made a big deal out of it. But yeah, I like this. I like this. It's an interesting and a very satisfying bourbon as it settles on the palate. So, all that being said, this was Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond, 100 proof, 50% alcohol per volume. 7 years old, distilled by Heaven Hill Distillery in Louisville, Kentucky. And it was $49.99 at my local grocery store here in Ohio. Of course, your prices may vary depending on your various fees and taxes, etc. I did probably pay tax on this, but I don't usually add that on. The base price off the shelf was $49.99. And I'd say it's worth it. I'd say it is worth the price. It's an easy drinker, and it the more it's sitting here, my palate is still kind of like, I want some more. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. So, thank you for joining me, as always. And until next time, of course, cheers.